From Indiana's business news leader, this is IBJ Media's Inside Indiana Business with Gerry Dick, presented by Elevate Ventures, Indiana University, and LiUNA.
Drivers, start your engines.
May in Indianapolis. A timeless tradition that uniquely links Indiana to the world. Power, passion, pageantry, and economic horsepower. It's time to buckle in for Business at the Brickyard.
Hello and welcome to Inside Indiana Business. I'm Gerry Dick, coming to you from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as we conclude our month-long Business at the Brickyard series. Actually, this is a racers and pacers weekend in Indianapolis, as not only the 108th running of the Indianapolis 500, but the Pacers and the Celtics squaring off in the Eastern Conference Finals at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Two events with huge economic impact, to be sure, for the city of Indianapolis and the state of Indiana. But on Sunday, the 108th running, all eyes will be on this famed 2.5-mile oval. It concludes a month that is very important to the Indianapolis and the Indiana economies. And joining me now with more on the month of May, the impact, how it's gone, pleased to be joined as always by Indianapolis Motor Speedway President Doug Boles. Doug, thanks for taking a minute during a busy month, obviously. As you reflect back on the month, how would you assess the month of May from a success standpoint?
Well, from an energy standpoint, it just has felt like all along this month the energy's been really great. Even the practice days when it was raining, we had so many people here to be part of it. The qualifying weekend was really strong, and the ticket sales have been strong. They've been strong since renewal at the end of the 2023 season. It's really about just the fans' excitement to come back. This really is all the fans that have helped us do this year.
When you look at the month of May, what are the metrics you kind of look at? I'm sure there are multiple to gauge success. Ticket sales obviously would be one.
Ticket sales is one of them. Another one is how are our merchandise sales going, our concession sales, our food and beverage, the use of our suites. All of that is really what goes into it. And then we look at social media to try and understand how are people feeling about it. Are they feeling like they had a good experience? What are some of the problems? And overall, it's just been really strong on each of those metrics, and we've learned a few things from social media.
Several changes from a business standpoint this month, including a new concession vendor.
We switched to Aramark, and our sales have gone up, and we've added a new grab and go in our plaza, which is our most visible area where we have the most people almost every day. So those things have been really strong, and again, that fan feedback helps us continue to tweak those.
Again, from a business standpoint, implementing new things like the secondary ticket market, which I think is interesting, new this year. Talk about that and what it's all about.
It used to be, right, you weren't supposed to sell your Indianapolis Motor Speedway tickets, so you took them to the secondary ticket market. What we've done is we've created our own proprietary marketplace. So if you've got 10 tickets and you say, hey, I'm only going to use 8 of them this year, you can sell two of those on our marketplace, and then you still get to renew them, and that customer, that one customer can get it. We've created that on our own. It's been really, really successful. It's helping us find a new customer. It's also helping customers who maybe have big blocks of tickets and can't use them all and keep their seniority, and then make sure that they get those tickets back next year. We've been really happy with it. Fees are lower than most of your traditional platforms, and it's something we'll continue to refine, but it's turned out to be a really cool thing for us to be able to get somebody good seats, especially when people can't use all their seats.
You talk about the energy, the vibe around this place. How special is it to have the racers and the pacers back together again on a great Memorial Day weekend?
I think about my days working with the mayor and when we were in the middle of those NBA finals and you had Reggie Miller playing in New York City and people coming out here and seeing it. We had some fun qualifying weekend, putting some logos up as the game was going on, giving people an update on where we are in the game. We love working with the Pacers. We love working with the Colts. Anthony Richardson was here over qualifying. That to us is what this community is about. So to the extent that we can share the month of May with the Pacers, it's a pretty special month.
And final question for you, Doug. What does the Indianapolis 500 do as a springboard for the rest of the series? Does it provide kind of that high-profile energy boost, if you will?
For sure. It's sort of like the Kentucky Derby for horse racing. and it's really important that we do that. One of the things we continue to try and do is how do we take our 330,000 fans here and engage more and more of those people across the full season and pay attention to television. And we have to communicate to them. We have to take our stars that come from here and really take them into the marketplace. Indy 500 winner in all of those markets where we go after the Indianapolis 500 is important. So we're working really hard to do that. But you have to take this as our Super Bowl and make it pay off for all 17 races, just not the 500.
As always, Doug Boles, really appreciate the time. We'll talk to you soon.
Scott McLaughlin wins the pole for the Indy 500.
Well, certainly anticipation has been building all month for the greatest spectacle in racing, and already history has been made on the track. Team Penske driver Scott McLaughlin producing the fastest 4-lap average in history for an Indy 500 pole winner, 234.220 miles per hour, breaking the record set just last year. Fellow Team Penske drivers Will Power and 2023 winner Joseph Newgarden will join McLaughlin on the front row. While the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is about driving speed, the speed of doing business in Indiana was a topic of discussion at the Indiana Economic Development Corporation's 2024 Global Economic Summit.
State officials used the 2024 Indiana Global Summit as the stage to announce another massive investment. Eli Lilly and Company to invest an additional $5.3 billion in its manufacturing campus now under construction in Boone County's Leap Innovation District and add another 200 jobs. It brings Lilly's total commitment in the Leap District to $9 billion and 900 jobs, by far the largest single-site manufacturing investment in company history.
Truly transformational, unprecedented in their company's history at this level, and another Lilly legacy that we as Hoosiers are going to be the direct beneficiary of because of their confidence again in our workforce in the state of Indiana going forward, making this kind of commitment. I'll have some envious governors out there.
The Lilly investment headlined multiple major announcements at the summit, including a new $100 million growth fund announcement from Elevate Ventures and plans by Elanco and Purdue University to create a global research facility in the new One Health Innovation District near Elanco's new corporate campus on the site of the former GM stamping plant along White River in downtown Indy.
Well, coming up next, our Mary Rachel Redmond sits down with a racing icon, Lyn St. James. Welcome back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Well, Lyn St. James is a name that is very familiar with legions of IndyCar fans and Indy 500 fans. The Trailblazer continues to make her mark in supporting women in motorsports to this day. Our Mary Rachel Redmond had the chance to sit down with Lyn St. James and find out what's next.
The 1977 Indian
May 1977.
The first woman wins her starting place in the field.
Janet Guthrie, the first female driver to ever race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but certainly not the last.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engine.
In the male-dominated world of motorsports, there was another woman who dreamed of becoming a race car driver. Not to prove a political point or get special attention, she simply loved driving, and driving fast. Lyn St. James dared to defy the odds, making her own history behind the wheel, and in the process, paving the way for future generations of women in racing.
I came here in 1966 as a teenager. I lived in Ohio and I came over here with the guys from the gas station. So I knew what a big deal this race was. That's why, and I never said, oh, I'm going to do that. I mean, there was no way.
St. James made her racing debut in 1973 at the Amateur Sports Car Club of America race. Then came the Ford Motor Company.
1981, I became a factory driver for Ford Motor Company. I got a contract to race for Ford. That was huge. So I was on my own mission.
That she was. 1987, a major milestone, winning her first 24 hours of Daytona.
It has been a dream to run the Daytona 24-hour and then to win it, and so it's a culmination of a dream.
Then Dick Simon Racing came calling.
I mean, I've been racing 25 years, but I had never raced an open wheel car, and I'd never raced on an oval. So I came with a lot of experience, but not experience for this type of racing. I've never done a 3x3 start. Bobby Unser says, Lynn, you're a race car driver. If there's a hole, you take it, and if there isn't one, you don't try to make one. So I had to learn the puzzle piece by piece by piece. And Dick gave me the patience and the support.
Her historic 1992 debut in Indy was one to remember. Lynn St. James became the first woman to win the Indianapolis 500 Rookie of the Year, finishing 11th in the field of 33, stealing the heart of Hoosier race fans. Does it all kind of come flooding back to you a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's hallowed ground. I mean, I used to, when you drive through the tunnel, I mean, everybody talks about it, but it's true. We feel it.
I hope this country knows that women can do this, and there's more coming, and this is not a male-dominated sport. This is a sport for people who have tenacity and have a passion for it.
But it wasn't the track that inspired St. James to start paying it forward to younger female drivers. Instead, it was a message from the legendary Billie Jean King.
The light bulb went off that it isn't about me. It's about the next generation. And I mean, Billie would tell all of us athletes, you are the most powerful while you're competing.
She founded the Women in the Winner's Circle Foundation and started a driver development program, training up-and-comers like Sarah Fisher and Danica Patrick.
I'm still trying to win the Indy 500, but what am I doing with my off time? I'm training other young drivers like Sarah Fisher, who came and tried to kick my butt in 2000. It came full circle. And then when Danica showed up, even though I was no longer competing, that was the proof of the work.
Today, St. James is one of the top advocates for women in motorsports.
There are females that are just as good, if not better, than whoever else is out there. So the eyes are open, the doors are open. If they have the passion and the dedication and the commitment and the experience, maybe, but sometimes you don't have the experience. Passion and dedication and hard work ethic will overpower maybe what you don't have in experience. They want you. Racing does not accept mediocrity. You can't be just okay at your job. You got to just be the best.
Lynn St. James has unquestionably left an indelible mark on the industry on and off the track. And just like her racing days, she doesn't appear to be slowing down anytime soon.
All right, Mary Rachel, thank you. Lynn St. James continuing to make a real impact in the world of motorsports.
5, get ready, get ready. Leaders leaving, green, we are green.
NTT IndyCar Series Chief Starter Aaron Likens is sharing his fascinating journey to the Indy 500 flag stand. His new book, Playing in Traffic, tells his story of overcoming challenges with autism and Asperger's syndrome. A homegrown Hoosier, Likens' career was set in motion as a young child when the Chief Starter gave the checkered flag to him. Going through elementary school without a diagnosis was difficult, so Likens would lift his spirits by standing on a tall rock in his neighborhood and waving flags at passing cars. Likens says navigating employment can be extremely difficult for people with autism or Asperger's, but he hopes to inspire others to also find their dream job.
You get nervous before, but the second the event begins, the stress just goes away and it becomes just pinpoint focus on the job at hand. With each minute before the race, that pressure is going to amp up just a little bit, but as soon as back home again in Indiana is over and the command to start engines is given, it'll be game time.
Certainly all eyes will be on Aaron Likens and the podium, the flag stand, multiple times during this year's Indianapolis 500. He's waving the flags, importantly, the checkered flags at the end of the race. Well, there continues to be a big push at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and throughout IndyCar to diversify the fan base and also to connect with young students about career opportunities. We talk with the man leading both of those initiatives when we come back.
Time now for our Eye on Education, brought to you by PNC Bank.
Welcome back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Well, as IMS and IndyCar continue to prepare for this year's Indy 500, they are also continuing to execute on another race, the race for equality and change. Intentional efforts to increase diversity, inclusion, and access for fans in the stands and the motorsports workforce. Jimmy McMillan is Chief Diversity Officer and Chief Corporate Counsel for Penske Entertainment. He joins me now with more on your efforts to diversify the fan base here, the sport. You've been at it now really hard for 3 years. What have you accomplished to this point?
Thank you. I believe we've accomplished a lot, and I base that on, first, the reaction that I've gotten in the community. I think the community has been very positive about our intentional efforts to invite them to the track in a number of ways, either in our capacity as saying, hey, come out here as fans, come out here as participants, come out here and engage in a variety of ways. Certainly the things that we've been doing with schools to use this place as an inspiration for kids to go into STEM, to go into sciences and engage themselves in sport. But then also our outreach to minority-owned businesses and women-owned businesses, increasing our spend to over $4 million a year with MBEs and WBEs has been extremely impressive and welcomed by the community. And then finally, look at our leadership. We have a diverse group of leaders, probably more diverse than we've ever had in our history from top to bottom. And those folks are our ambassadors for our track.
As you look at, and you mentioned efforts with schools and science, technology, engineering, and math, STEM, you had a big event, I know, last week with Indianapolis Public Schools. Talk about that event, what you tried to accomplish.
Oh, I'm super excited and pumped up about it. It was a great event to have over 2,000 7th and 8th grade students to come out to the track and to be inspired by all of the things that we have here. We put them all in the grandstands, and they got to see their future, what's actually available to them. You can't expect kids to be something that they can't see. And this is really a pilot program for something bigger we want. We have 280,000 seats in the grandstand, and I'm pushing Doug Boles and Mark Miles. Let's fill every one of those seats with students from across, not just IPS, charter schools, private schools. We want them all out here coming and learning and seeing what we do, with the hopes that they're going to lead the next generation of sports out here at the Indy 500.
When you talk about diversifying the fan base here, what translates into success from your standpoint?
First is their experience. It's the cultural experiences for people one-on-one that walk up to me, stop me somewhere and say, hey, I came out to the track. I actually listened to you. I have lived here for 50 years, and I didn't think I was wanted out there. I didn't think they wanted me. I didn't think they had something for me. And I came out here and they start listing all of the things that they enjoyed. That's success. 2 is how we spend our money. I mean, I think you can't expect people to spend money with you unless you spend money with them. 3 is the reaction of our staff. I mean, it's watching our staff develop and get into this, to see the why behind it, to understand the reasoning, and then to see the victory behind it. For them to understand and work with a diverse vendor and there be benefit and value, for them to see a diverse fan and say, man, this person was really excited. I mean, that's what we're in it for. So all of those benchmarks are there for me. And then I think finally it's bigger than this place, right? This place is a earmark for the entire state. And how we go, the state goes. We're using every tool in the toolbox. We're bringing kids out to the golf course in a program called First Green to teach them about turf management. I had no clue what that was about. You can make over $100,000 a year graduating with a turf management degree, and we're bringing hundreds and hundreds of kids and schools out for that. We're using IMS Productions in ways that people haven't thought of. We have kids who are in the Indiana Black Expo Performing Arts program that we bring out, pair with our team that videos are IndyCar series, and we bring those folks out to show them what's possible and pipelining them into those careers. Logistics, catering, guest services, art, every tool in the toolbox we're using, because it's not just going to benefit us, it's going to benefit the entire state.
All right, Jimmy McMillan, thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you soon. Well, coming up next, we check out news making headlines around the state of Indiana, including major plans for a 50-mile stretch along the Ohio River in southwest Indiana.
Here's what's making news around Indiana. Brought to you by the Indiana Association of Realtors. Indiana's 21,000 realtors. The neighbors you know, the experts you can count on.
As we go around Indiana this week, big news. This was a big week for southwest Indiana as some long anticipated plans a vision for the riverfront in southwest Indiana was unveiled.
After a year-long process, the vision for a 50-mile stretch along the Ohio River from Mount Vernon to Newburgh has been released. The public getting its first look at a plan that touches Posey, Vanderburgh, and Warwick counties. Boston-based Sasaki, the design firm behind Chicago's Riverwalk and a 32-acre Cincinnati riverfront park, put the Southwest Indiana plan together. In Evansville, it rebrands the area from Bally's Casino and Hotel to the water treatment plant as Great Bend Park, and includes public spaces and recreational pathways. Residential, office, and retail development also part of the Evansville plan. In Newburgh, renderings feature proposed townhome and retail development and private investment to redevelop underutilized sites along the river.
Mount Vernon has a really unique riverfront. Newburgh has a very unique riverfront, and Evansville's is unique. So three distinct riverfronts that all attract people to it on a regular basis.
The Ohio River Vision and Strategic Plan is viewed as a roadmap for the region that will roll out over the next 2 decades.
Well, that's all the time we have for this week's show as we conclude our month-long Business at the Brickyard series, a look at the economic impact, the significant impact motorsports has on the Indiana economy. I'd like to thank the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for hosting us this month, and also our presenting sponsors of Business at the Brickyard, Gainbridge, and LiUNA. I'm Gerry Dick. Thanks for joining us. Go out and make it a successful week.